why are you looking at an empty tank? An empty tank is like a piece of plain paper or canvas, empty canvas, where you can create anything that you desire, any art that you desire, any form that you desire. Through our aquascaping workshop, I have explained to you about the story, the concept. I have explained to you that you should be prepared before you start anything on this little canvas. Here today, I want to create something on the lines of a Brazilian aquascape. Now, the reason the whole idea is called a Brazilian aquascape is because it's very popular amongst the Brazilian hobbies, and there is a method, there is a flow to it. The placement of stone or the placement of wood and the path in between, so on and so forth. Now, last week you saw a typical concave Amano style aquascape. Today we'll see a Brazilian style aquascape. Now, you need to remember that most aquascapes are based or close to or connected to Amano's designs, because he was the one who started it and people developed from there. They learned from Mr. Amano's concepts and ideas and they developed it. Now, this cannot be called copying or anything, because every time somebody makes an aquascape, it is unique. Yes, you're learning from somebody. This is like saying, I learned maths from my maths teacher and I will not use it in my day-to-day business. Mr. Amano is like a guru, like a teacher. He taught people the beauty of aquascaping, and we have all learnt, and using our own ideas, we are creating our own art forms. So quickly what we are going to do here now is set up the substrate. Now, I'm not going to go in detail about the substrate because we already have a video for it. We have gone in detail, okay, in our 4-feet tank, and we have explained all the nuances. So here it's going to be quick, but I'm going to spend more time on the aquascape itself. So, to start the substrate, we are starting with root boost. Now, like we know, root boost has all the elements that is required for bacteria growth, and here we also have small elements that will help the root growth. These ingredients are very useful. Now, I'm actually adding this at the more or less the center of the tank because I'm using more soil. Unlike last time, we had added it to the back of the tank. But again here, there is one more important thing that we need to understand. Let me just add this and I will show you. Now, you know, root boost has bacteria, electroplus, carbofit plus, and root boost itself. That is bacteria, food for the bacteria, something to wake up dormant bacteria, and root boost, this white powder being the main ingredient which helps micro root growth. Because you're using a lot of tissue culture plants, so this is very important. Now, if you see, I have added the root boost in this area and I'm keeping this area clean. Right, I've added it in the center. Now some of these methods that I use are because I have learned this way and I use this. You can create your own options and methods. Next, we will use a special substrate. Here I'm using a small, because the height of the tank is only 1.5 feet. I can use a medium also, but because I need a more height, I'm using a small. Now this I'm putting from the back. Now here what I'm doing is I'm removing the special substrate from the sides, because this aquarium is going to be visible from all 3 sides. I don't want anyone to see the special substrate. I want them to see the soil. So if you remove the substrate from the sides, then you can make sure that there is a clean look from all sides. But here in this one, doesn't matter. I want a height at the back. Now I'm going to add one more bag. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm making the corners higher. See, the center is a little lower than the corners. I'm making the corners higher. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. This is important for later. Next, I'm using the indica additives. Now you're all aware that indica additives, like I had explained last time, is a beneficial fungi that helps to establish a symbiotic relationship between the plants. So I'm adding that here. So indica additives, again, it's the first time in the world that anybody has used it for aquarium and planted aquariums. Unique concept, and it works beautifully. Now we'll add the soil. So next, like I said, we're adding the soil. Our indica 9-liter soil comes in a reusable bucket. Important to know because this bucket can be reused as a hospital tank. I'll make another video for that and tell you how it works, but it works. Now in this we have the soil and we're adding the soil again from the front. You start from the front. Again, front to be leveled to whatever height you want. There is something amazing about the indica soil. I don't know if I told you last time, but it has that gili mitti ka smell. The first rain, when it rains for the first time, the smell of mud, it's a very intoxicating smell. It's the same smell the soil has. Now, it is something that has happened naturally. I think probably because this is Indian soil, so I think it's part of our culture. So now once you level the front, see, you have the height that you need. Then you move the soil to the back and towards the corners. I think we will need a little bit more soil here. But wait, aren't we making a Brazilian aquascape? Correct. You don't need soil in the front. You need the soil at the back because we are going to use sand in front. So this goes to the back. Now I'll show you why. Let's add some more soil. Now important that your special substrate is completely covered. Your soil is higher to the sides. So you have this angle. You want it higher to the sides. Now let's finish the rest of the scape. So if you see from the side, we have almost a 4 to 5 inch height here and lesser here. Now I'll tell you how this works. We will need a little bit more soil because I don't want this much gap for my sand. I only want to use say about 3 inches. So I'm adding some more soil. This is enough. Okay, I'm adding some soil here, but I'm maintaining my aquascape in the same manner. So I have height to the sides. Now you don't want anything like these grains of sand sticking in front in the glass here. You want them to stay back because you don't want them to be visible in the sand. So this is important. So always keep cleaning it up. I'm using something called a wood fossil rock out here, and I'm going to start with this. So now the trick is you place the stone like this and you push it to the back. You push it to the back, so you have the soil as a support. The soil supports it, so you're pushing it to the back. Similarly, I'm using this stone here. I'm pushing it down. Now important is I want this path. So maybe I'll bring it closer. I'm supporting it with soil. It needs a stone here. So I'm using another stone here to support the bigger stone. Something that will support these also. Let me get a look of this from the front. I have a feeling this stone is too back, so I'm moving it here. Okay, a little further. This also, moving it a little further. This is not looking so good, so I'll use another stone to support this. It can get covered later. I still feel this has to come front. Same here. This space is okay. This space we have to adjust. So now I have more or less an idea of what I want. So now I want some of this soil to come to the back because I believe this is too high. Again, keep the front clean and see, this is the path we are going to create. See, now this is the path we are going to create. This is the path we are going to create. See, like this and like this. This is the path we are going to create. So this is the path we are creating. Right? Yeah, so this is a better look. So you want all of this excess soil to move to the back. You want more soil at the back and lesser in front. Now this is our barrier. This is our barrier. We will adjust till here and try and keep the rest of the soil at the back. So we have the front clean now. our whole scape is ready. I'll explain it to you. This is the path we are going to create. Now what we have done is we have used this stone called rock fossil, which looks like fossils, very old, aged because of the lines and all of that. So it gives an impression of a very old jungle or a mountain range over a period of time, whatever it is weathered, and there is a nice path moving to the back. Now that is something that we are going to create now. There are going to be some issues where the soil is going to fall front. I'll tell you how to correct that because of the height here and here. I'll show you how to correct it. But first we need to put the sand. See, when you're working with scapes like this, these things will happen. The special substrate is going to come up. Just put it to the back. Just put it to the back. Don't worry about it. Okay. Or you can cover it with little bit more soil. Not an issue. See? Cover it up. No problem there. Additionally, what we have done is, besides creating the path here, we also have spaces here where we will have plants. We will have plants growing in all these spaces, different kinds of plants, and probably on the stone or wherever, but that we will come to it later. So here what I am doing is, I have two colors of sand. I have a golden and I have a white, and I am testing which one will look good for me. So I am just putting the sand here and I want to see which will look better. I feel the white is a little dull. It's not white, it's kind of grayish, light brownish actually, but the golden one is brighter, so it will look more interesting. So let's use the golden one. It will give us a little bit more brightness. The whole tank will get bright, so we'll use that. Now when you do things like this, there's a little bit of sand here. There's always good to check when you have a doubt. This will always get covered up or it will get mixed up with the other sand, so no big deal, nothing to really worry about. So sand, I'm going to start from the front here. See, I'm adding it from the front. Okay, there is a gap here, don't worry about it. I'll show you what needs to be done. Once you add ample amount of sand in the front, now what we will do is, we will use any kind of a tool. You can use a credit card, you can use any cardboard, okay, and we will see the height that we want in front, and we will first adjust that. Okay, we know that this is the level we want in front, and then we will move the sand to the back. Once this is approximately done, we will create our path. So this is an indication now, then we will correct it later. Now the sand I am putting on top of the soil because I want plants to grow here also. So this is basically, now you have created your path and your sand. So now these places where I have soil, I am covering it up next to the stone. I don't want this soil to be visible. Similarly here, and similarly here also. Okay, maybe a little bit here. Let's first add some soil here and then cover it up. Now we can level it out using a brush. Now I'm using a finer brush and adjusting the sand here. I need a little bit here. Now this is our base structure. We have this structure here. Okay. Now I need a little bit more finer stones to kind of do some setting. So I'm using something that's a little dark color, similar to, not similar, but what I'm going to do is, in places like this where the soil can come down, I'm creating a barricade of sorts. So I'm going to put this here and I'm going to create a barricade. Okay, we can cover that up later, not a problem. I'm going to create a barricade here, see, so that this soil does not go down. We'll cover this up with plants so it will not be visible. Similarly, in places like this, we're doing the same thing. You don't want the soil to come down and spoil your look. Now here I have a bunch of stones that I'm going to use here. I'll put some anubias or something on top of it and I'm going to pack this area. So now there is no chance for the soil to come out. There are little places, but that's okay. I'll tell you how that will get covered once we do the planting. So now this is almost ready. The next step is to plant this. So we'll give this a day or two. Now, there are some basic and unique planting techniques and certain kinds of plants that we will use for this scape, which we will see in our next video. Basically, this is to understand how you can create a beautiful aquascape where you have a path moving towards the back. What plants to use? I want you guys to make suggestions. Please comment and share your ideas of what plants can be used where, and we will take it from there. Once we have this, we can also do some fine adjustments, make it look better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pebbles. We call it the jungle path pebbles. It can be used in places like this, and this makes it look more natural. So basically the Brazilian hobbyists came up with a plan of doing something like this, okay, inspired from a Brazilian natural mountain area. Now you can add more soil here to get more plants. You can make the stones look smaller, that's possible. You can use smaller stones, bigger stones, whatever you want to. You can even use wood here, okay, you can have maybe a piece of wood coming here, all totally up to you, okay, it totally depends on how you want this to look. Now I was limited by the elements that I have. This is the stone I have, so I'm using this, okay. But you can also wait and come up with something interesting, get the right kind of stones. And of course, there are a lot of videos that show Brazilian aquascaping, okay. It's a very interesting concept, it's a very interesting style. You can check those out also. Now, you can also comment what you think about this, and quickly we will be planting and we'll show you how to do the planting as well. Again, like in all my videos, like I say, please connect with us so that we can support you better and we can send you links to the Zoom class, okay. Zoom class is every Saturday, and of course in the Zoom class we can have a one-to-one discussion and understand and solve your problems with me and other hobbyists there. So thank you, and of course I will see you all in my Zoom class, okay. Chalo, bye bye.